Dear students, today we are moving with another new topic, that is electronic mail. In simple, we call it email. We are very familiar with that and we have used many times, and all of us have email addresses. So it's nothing but a new version of the mail. So in the e-commerce, we usually use the email because it's an electronic mail. We know what is mail. Mail means sending the letters, information. So information earlier was sent through the physical letters, and usually it was sent through the post, couriers, and we are aware how much time it was taking. Now, after the arrival of internet, sending the letters became very easy, and mail through the mail we can send the letters on the spot for a very fast. The rapid growth of electronic mail has been one of the most exciting communication developments. We know that in the communication developments, one thing has taken a rapid growth, and that is email. There are more emails sent every day than telephone calls. It is said by these three people, Lessiker, Flatley, and Renz. They say that there are more emails sent every day than telephone calls. Why it is this statement is made? Earlier, telephone calls were given more importance before the arrival of internet, and for most of the business communications, telephone was used. For now and then, telephone calls were made. Now, usually people don't contact over the phones. Usually, they just send the mails. Electronic mail has become a mainstream form of business communication and is used widely in both small and large organizations. It may be any kind of organization, whether it is a small or a large. So, email is used, and we must be aware that for the communication today, main device is email. Let's move with some of the advantages of email. I have mentioned here only a few. So these are not the all advantages of email. So email has so many advantages, but I have mentioned here only five because I am dealing the importance of email only from the organizational only from the organizational point of view, and not general. In a general sense, the benefits of email are so many, but here for our study just limit it for five things, and whichever are more advantages you can jot down, you can write it. Absolutely, there is no problem. First, I want to mention that email eliminates telephone tag. This I already mentioned in my last previous slide, where today the telephone calls are reduced because of the email, and removing the telephone tag means earlier you were completely dependent on the telephone, but today you are not. So businesses are more dependent on today writing content than making the calls. Second, email saves busy people time. So over the phone, when you are speaking, more time was consuming because you don't know that you were busy with one work and suddenly phone calls come. So it disturbs and distracts, and even it becomes a distraction if it is a not a private place, in general place working. So if you are sending a message, it reaches to a particular person, and he will look into the message when and where he requires, and not according to the sender's requirement. Then third, email can speed up decision making. So decision making is very important task in every business, and when we are making a decision, so sometimes oral communications may forgotten, but if it is there through over the email, then vast content could be written and everything is there, and that could be remembered, and on the basis of that decision making is made easy. Email is cost effective. Absolutely no doubt. If I ask how much cost you require to send a mail, I think today we can say zero, because everybody's mobile phones have a net facility, and any amount of mails you can send, any amount of content you can send to anybody in the under the globe. So in this globe under the sun, you can send a message to anybody without any cost. That means, do you have any cost? Absolutely zero. Then finally, email provides written records. Whatever you have sent, it has remained. Over the phone call, if you say something in the business matters and all, usually the other person sometimes might have forgotten and say, no, you have not said. But if you have sent an email, proof is remain. Even if he has deleted in your mail, there is a proof of sent mail. Therefore, absolutely no worry that saying content is not said or not deleted, not received. So for all these things, it is very advantageous, and we can say email is one of the partners in the business organization and one of the important tool the business organizations use. Second one, disadvantages we'll say. So there are so many disadvantages of email also from the business point of view, from the organizational point of view. I'll be mentioning just three here. Email is not as private as it may seem. See, earlier when you are writing a letter, if your letter is open, you are very aware, or somebody has opened your letter and you knew. But email is not that way. Email is sent, yes, but hackers and all can look into the information, to the information, and sometimes even email IDs and all. If it is a public computer PC, then anybody may open, or sometimes you might have forgotten to sign out your email ID, and somebody may be viewing your mail. So that problem is there. Then email does not communicate the sender's emotion and tone. See, while communication, in the communication, usually tone and emotions are understood. The way when he speaks itself, you understand whether he is rude, very lovingly speaks, very jovial, or very happy. What all his conditions, sender's conditions are known. But in the email, you don't know what was his condition while writing the email. You just get the information, but emotions you are not getting. Then final thing is, email may be ignored or deleted by the recipient. We must be aware that email may be ignored or deleted by the recipient. So sometimes while deleting unwanted emails, important one also may be deleted, and sometimes what happens is he might have been ignored to read, sometimes because of no network connections and all. A few days he might not have read at all. Immediately message would have been read and supposed to read and act today itself, but due to some other problems he might not have read at all. So these problems may occur. These are the disadvantages of email. Whatever may be the situation, if you see in this one proper sense, email is a boom to the organization, boom to the business, and absolutely not a danger or not a threat to the business. But some of the etiquettes has to be followed, and some of the security aspects has to be looked in. So security aspects of email I'll be speaking in the next class, but in today's class I'll be speaking only the email etiquette. So why do we need email etiquette? So 3 points will explain why do we need email etiquette. Etiquette means good manners. So in the email, what all good manners you have to follow? Professionalism. By using proper email language, you and your company will convey a professional image. See, if your emails are very good and of the standard, then they will say that, oh, this company is very professional, highly professionalistic, highly qualitative. That will be the point. Then efficiency. Emails that get to the point are much more effective than poorly worded emails. So if you are preparing an email which is not that attractive and repetitive information, or incorrect grammar, and not framed properly, drafting was not done properly, then that is not good. That may give you a bad impression of the organization, and efficiency of the emails will come down. Then protection from liability. Employee awareness of email risks will protect your company from costly lawsuits. So employees should be aware of email risks. Otherwise what happened, sometimes other suits, other problems, legal procedures has to be followed. Therefore employees should be take maximum care of emails. Now we'll move with the proper email formatting. While formatting or drafting the emails, what all things you have to look into, that is what the etiquettes of the email, how the email should be. So first, remember spelling and grammar. So not this is not only in email, in any matter while you are writing, these aspects has to be looked into, spelling and grammar, because it distracts, or it gives a different meanings when there are spelling and grammar mistakes. This is often the first impression you make upon a good manager or a company. A lack of attention to detail will speak to them loudly about who you are as an employee. See, the moment you are writing in a very systematically, spellings are accurate and grammar is proper, then the other person will get a message that sender is one of the proper person. Otherwise, you lose your impression and image. Then second, edit past messages. When replying to messages or a thread of messages, edit out any repetitive information. Do leave the parts of the email that you are responding to, so they understand what you are communication. What it says is, when you are replying to another person, you should refer back to which message you are replying. Just don't write just email. So when you are writing an email, want to say something, if you have some previous messages from that person whom you are writing, then go back to that message and say that on this day you have communicated me this way, or you asked me this, to this I am replying this. Okay. Next, have a professional email address for business communication. So what it means is, have a professional address. Sometimes what we see is, every organization will create its own addresses. Now, for example, the Philomena College has its own address. So you are this one like at gmail.com, as at spc.in we have. So if my name is Ashok, then I have a Ashok at spc.in. So this is what personal business email. So in any organization, when there is a professional things, you can have it. When doing business communication, create a professional sounding email address. Make sure that your email address is professional sounding. Then take care with the abbreviations and emotions. Abbreviations means writing in the short forms. For example, here you say, in business emails, try not to use abbreviations such as BTW. What you want to say is, by the way. Now always when you are sending the messages and all, you are using the abbreviation short forms. So BTW, you wanted to say by the way, but the recipient may not understand that. Sometimes he may read it BTW means between. So you wanted to say by the way, and LOL. So another this one short form, laugh out loud. You wanted to say laugh out loud, but the recipient will not understand. You might have understood, he may not be understanding. Therefore, don't use these things in your email. If you are using this, write in a bracket. Then the recipient and LOL. The recipient might not be aware of the meanings of the abbreviations, and in business emails, these are generally not appropriate. The same goes for emotions such as the smiley. Sometimes you may use, do not assume a smiley will cancel out an otherwise insulting or critical remark. As much as possible, let us avoid these abbreviations and emotional tones that we are using. Let's move with the next slide. So no shouting. So you may be wondering, what shouting in the emails? Okay, usually in the over the phones we can shout. In the communication face to face we can shout. But how can we shout in the email? You must be aware that if you are writing in capitals, it means as if you are shouting. In email, if you have used it in capital letters, then you are shouting. Therefore, you remember that you may not be aware till today what is shouting in the emails. So if you write in everything in capital, then you are shouting. Therefore, try to use the common and normal language. This can be highly annoying and might trigger an unwanted response in the form of a plain mail. Therefore, try not to send any email text in capitals. Then provide clear detail in the subject line. So in the subject you have to give a clear details. You can often need to send your colleagues several emails regarding various projects. Help them identify what you are speaking about in the subject line. This can also prevent anti-spamming devices from sending your email to the junk folder. What is this? Is almost you have to give a clear detail of the information that you want to send it. Next slide will move. Fill in the to. This is very important. Otherwise, your message will not reach. So, to whom you are sending that, you have to fill whether it is first or next. So, what do you, some have a habit of putting the first fill in to, but according to the etiquette, what it says is fill in the to line last. Messages often get sent to the wrong person because someone hits reply or reply all rather than create a new message. Therefore, these things has to be looked into. Reply to all, or create a new. Always you see those things and see whom you have sent. Sometimes to the previous person whom you have sent, that same name may repeat there. Therefore, last once again before sending the message has to be looked into. Then greetings and closings. So end has to be very normal way, and sign your first name if you are if you greet them by their first name, and vice versa. So sign and send. Sign means if you can use the photocopied sign or scan sign, or you can just write your name. That's sufficient. We'll move with the next next this one. Do not overuse the high priority option. Do not overuse the high. If you overuse the high priority option, it will lose its function when you really need it. Moreover, even if a mail has high priority, your message will come across as slightly aggressive if you flag it as high priority. So whenever you are sending a messages and all, you don't make it that it's a high priority, very important. Such things are not wanted, because sometimes what happens is, if you are telling that high important, and when you are not making a mention of highly important, they will never glance those messages at all. Then use templates for frequently used responses. So for frequently used responses, you can use the templates. Some questions you get over and over again, such as the direction to your office, or how to subscribe to your newsletter. Save these text as response templates and paste these into your message when you need them. You can save your templates in a Word document and use pre-formatted emails. So you are creating templates whichever repeating, and that you may save your time. So next, standard email etiquette. Some more aspects. This what I have said is how to write the email. Now, what are the standard etiquettes that are there in the email? So first, remember the human. This is very important when you are sending a email. See, you have to ask a question when you are writing there. Would you say what you are writing to this person's face? When you are writing an email, you must visualize that person's face. And if he is in front of you, are you saying that words to him? If he says yes, then you write it. Are you willing for these words to be forever out there? Or means whatever written, see, when you are speaking orally, sometimes it will be remembered and forgotten, but what you are writing, that will remain forever. It may remain until you are at his death, and even after your death, those words what you have said to him will remain. Therefore you should be highly careful. The polite words, okay, always you can say, but when you are using the harsh words, you should be very careful, because those are remembered and those who are recorded, and they remains as a proof. Remember, you are having a conversation with another human, but you cannot communicate with body language, tone, or inflection. So this is a danger we are having. Okay, you might have said a particular word with a lighter tone. You didn't want it. You wanted just for a fun, but he may be taking in another sense. Therefore, you don't know with what sense he is reading your email. Therefore, while writing, you must see that we have to always visualize the person. Sarcasm is not always picked up on in an email. Be careful to whom you use it. No venting or flaming in emails. Flames means what you call in Kannada, ಜ್ವಲಿಸೋದು, burning. So, ಉರಿಯುವುದು we say in Kannada. Our language should not be like this one, burning or harsh towards the another. So, just for some more information, what is flaming we'll see in the next slide. So, what is flaming? Flaming is a virtual term for venting emotions, means pouring out your emotions online or sending inflammatory. So, that which is not as necessary emails, it is best to avoid flaming because it tends to create more conflict and tension. By sending a harsh messages like flaming, we call what we call, so what happens is it creates a conflict within the persons, a tension in the persons. So better when you send a message, you don't use that. This is etiquette of email. Email should be very soft. Next point. Assume goodwill. Assessing the tone of an email is difficult. Don't assume the sender is angry or rude. See, when you are reading the message, sometimes you are reading with your biased understanding and you consider that the other person has sent me very rude. But you don't know what to, this one emotion he had. He might have written in a common this one emotion, but you are considering it very, he was very harsh, angry, rude. Such might not have been the case. Therefore, always you assume the goodness. Don't assume negatively. Have a positive attitude. If you do find a situation is escalating emotionally, reply to them with a phone call. You inquire first with what sense he has written. Don't simply assume his bad will. Assume the good will. Then focus the email on what you need. Make sure you lead your email with what you want from the other party. So what you need, that is more important in your email. Our consider is what I want to tell, what I require, what information required to be passed on. So that should be my intention, and if I fulfill that, that's sufficient, and that's the etiquette of the email. So let's move with the another etiquette. So answer swiftly. This is very important. Okay. Customers send an email because they wish to receive a quick response. Therefore, each email should be replied to within at least 24 hours and preferably within the same working day. If the email is complicated, just send an email back saying that you have received it and that you will get it back to them. So, what it says is usual timing for the replying of the email is 24 hours. But if at all you are able to reply on the same day you replied, on the same day means before 12 o'clock night. So before you sleep, before the day comes to an end, you try to reply. And even if you sometimes the task which is assigned to you may be requiring more time and requires more information, then in such case, what you do is tell them that I will get back to you in a polite way. Means you require time. It is you are mentioning that. So what it means is giving a reply is more important. Reply, answer swiftly, answer fast. That is the requirement of the email. Next slide will move. Protect people's privacy. If you have an email to send out and need to copy it to several people, put their addresses in the BCC section and your email in the too. So what happens is sometimes you are sending a message in a general column there, and when the general column goes, so these addresses of yours are seen by everybody. There are provisions, so you can look into that how you are sending. When you are sending to many people, you have to send in writing this BCC. Otherwise, in general way, if you send your whom all message has sent, it will go to everybody. Therefore, privacy has to be, others' privacy has to be maintained. Then, respect other people's time and bandwidth. Do not send emails including large attachments without permission. Know who needs to receive this information and do not copy people who do not need this information. Only use reply all if everyone copied on the email needs that information. What it says is you should send the emails only to the people who are requiring. Sometimes you see business information and all come to everybody. We even I get so many emails which I don't want at all from the business organizations and all, advertisements and all. I get angry and irritated. You see, that is unwanted message. So such things from the organization point has to be avoided. See, a particular organization continuously sending me mails, I get nauseated and irritated and I get a bad impression of that organization. That's why the organization should be be very careful not to send such emails. And even in while we are sending, we must see that large attachments and all we are sending, then we must be careful that we have to say, inform that person, say I am sending this and this content. Otherwise he may be wondering what is this so much, that is time we are killing. We are not supposed to kill somebody's time. Therefore we must be very careful whom we have to send them. Next, answer all questions and preempt further questions. If you do not answer all the questions in the original email, you will receive further emails regarding the unanswered questions, which will only waste your time and your customer's time, but also cause considerable frustration. If you are able to preempt relevant questions, your customer will be grateful and impressed with your efficient and thoughtful customer service. So, what it is expected is answer all the questions that is asked by the sender. So whenever you are sending replying to the email or sending the message, then you need to be very careful that answer all the questions. Don't keep it pending. If you keep it pending, for him also another work to go back to which questions he has not answered, then again he will send this, then again you have to reply. So within one email you could have sent and completed the conversation, but you are prolonging because you have not answered some of the issues. Next, do not forward chain letters or spam. We cannot forward chain letters. We can safely say that all of them are hoaxes. Just delete the letters as soon as you receive them. Spam is unsolicited advertisement. You do not want to forward this on to customers or co-workers. There are some things where spam, they are not the important issues at all. So those letters, spams and all, no, you don't forward to somebody else. That is common sense and etiquette. So chain letters will be coming so unnecessary, unwanted. It is our duty just delete it rather than forwarding to somebody. Forgive other people's mistakes. This is one of the important aspect. We are very bad. We just criticize others, what he says, what is right. And what more important in our email etiquette is, if you do point out another's mistakes, please do so politely. What he says is, okay, you find any mistakes, irritations by another person, just politely tell him and politely guide him. And if you are aware of etiquette of email, politely tell him. Now you are, for example, now all of you who understood this concept email etiquette, you have understood how to send the email. Therefore you should guide the other people if they do the mistakes, and it is your task because you are learned people. Now you have learnt about email, so you have to guide the other people. So this is what regarding the email etiquette, and I hope that you have understood this. And this is very important not only for the class sake, not only for the this exams point of view. This is very important in your life. I am sure that throughout your death you will be writing so many emails, not only in the business aspects but even in your personal lives. But this etiquette has to be followed, either it is a business or it is a personal life, wherever. Therefore it's one of the important topic worth learning for your life. Therefore remember it for life. And in the next class we will be learning about the email security. Thank you.